make this quick. Technically, I'll open this by saying I have no rights to make this video. I've looked through my collection. I have very little that goes towards this dead game. And there's a bunch of controversy about how dead this game really is. But I'm being technical. The game I'm talking about that is a dead game, I'm doing this for a friend who's very much was dear to this setting, is Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I'm going to point out, talking about Warhammer Fantasy Battles, the rank and file game, the one that was semi-Napoleonic, where you had a lot of drills and maneuvers and wheeling units. That was a different game than the present game that's on the market that occupies the same spot. The company wanted to change how the game worked and the demographic it targeted, so they went along that route. Honestly speaking, Warhammer Fantasy left my active gaming interests before the game actually went over to the Age of Sigmar. It's actually during, I think it was 5th and 6th edition, they started increasing the amount of troops you needed to play. And I had an old Chaos army. I was an old Chaos player. I was thinking about doing Lizardmen and kind of got forces for it, never took off. I wanted to play Dark Elves, that never took off. But the deal is that Warhammer Fantasy Battles was really price extensive. You had to pay a lot to play it. Now, that's a Games Workshop thing. Honestly, if you don't have $200 to spend, what are you doing buying Games Workshop product in the first place? Yes, some of the starter boxes only cost $120 or $150, but to be perfectly honest, it does get more expensive really quickly after that. I would like to compare that with other things, but let's keep on Warhammer for right now. So, as you can see, this is not the original box. This is one of the boxes that equipment came in. I think this was originally the box for some Saurus Warriors. It's long since overdue. It's got the Warhammer 40K on the back of it, yada yada. It's just a basic paperboard box that was printed that you would slide off the cover. This one I think had Saurus Warriors written on it, and then you'd have the sprues inside you could play with. Very fine quality art. I don't know if you can see it well from there, but the art for Warhammer has never been a slouch. I mean, their visual image is a big thing that they're into. Warhammer Fantasy Battles really did have a lot of emphasis on rank and file and the heroes. The magic, when I got into the game, you actually had to buy a Magic expansion to play with Magic, which was hilarious because I essentially just played with Warriors of Chaos that generally ignored the Magic phase. But it's okay. This is just one piece of my collection. It's actually just holds stuff. It's a box. What can I say? I went through and found almost everything I possibly could in my collection. I started out in, I believe this is 5th edition. Not quite certain, but this is the Realm of Chaos book. And it is, my God, talk about the edge. You could cut yourself on this book. I think the Skull obsession with Games Workshop started with the Chaos and then spread to their Space Marines like the Blood Angels and stuff. But it's mostly just black and white. It has a lot of art. It's kind of funny. One of the pictures in here is not based off of like, if I can find it, I think it's this one right here. Yeah, if you look at that closely, the art is based on the miniature. It's not based on actually, a fantasy drawing. He drew the miniature for that piece of art. Hilarious, right? But yeah, they had color pieces there showing, here's what it's like to build a Chaos Army. Notice how small the units are by comparison. This being an older edition of the game. They had some hilariously edgy art, like demon guys roaring and shit like that. This being one of my favorite art pieces, done by John Blanche. How metal can you get? I mean, that just screams litanies of pain and agony and terror. It's kind of the entire point, I think, of playing Chaos, is just be as edgy and as metal-headed as possible. And yeah, there's just mostly, like I said, black and white. And they even had, let's modify how you play the game. The 4th edition book, I still want to get my hands on it just because it has beautiful front cover art. But it's, yeah, it was out. And I think when I first got into Warhammer Fantasy, they released this book that had this chart that changed how you played Chaos Forces. If I remember correctly, the Chaos Forces came in a box. I got this later. This is the Chaos Champion supplement, which I actually never really used. It has, let me turn to some pages here. This is the first, I think it's the first time we literally had a name on this guy, Archaon, the Lord of Chaos. Like I said, I quite forgot if it was 4th or 5th edition. I do believe this was released in 1997. Let me just look at some things. This one's 1998. I think the other book I showed you was 1997. Let me verify. But this is Archaon, Lord of Chaos. Reading through this is kind of funny. They give him an alternate name for the Steed of Chaos he's riding on. If you look at later editions of the same rule book, they change the name of the Chaos Steed. The 1997 for the Realm of Chaos, 98 for this sucker. But yeah, this is the first time we ever got to see Archaon. He's not my favorite boy though. Archaon is what Archaon? A Cold Hellbrass. I like this guy. I know I like this guy because I still have his figure. It's missing the back banner, but I intend on sculpting over that. Let me see if I can get you a good shot of A Cold here. He is the only evil champion you'll ever come across who's based on life. He's a life-giving villain. Love this guy. He's my favorite boy. And I was kind of a fan of Tzeentch when Tzeentch first came out. His original mark allowed you to do anti-magic stuff, even though he's a magic-based guy. So you could just play with warriors and have an anti-magic army. Hilarious, right? But yeah, they had a bunch of other, like Count Mortar was actually pretty cool. He was from the original 4th edition as well. They had a bunch of different guys in here. But they came out with this, and I picked this up just because I was still playing the game at this point. My Chaos Army was traded off for Flames of War stuff a long time ago. I think that was in 2008 or something like that, like Flames of War Soviets. This is the 5th edition book, or 6th edition book. It's one of those editions. This was made in 2002, and it has Archaon inside of the front cover with his. I actually have. No, I think about it. Wait, I have this guy. I have the. Haven't opened them or painted him, but I have Archaon. I could paint Archaon if I wanted to. Of course, I would not paint him like that. I am not a fan of doing the same paint jobs that the studio tells you to do. I love making it my own miniature. So yeah, I could unbox this one day. Maybe show you guys what it looks like painted, but not this day. I'm talking about a dead game, not a miniature I shall make come to life. It's very much black and white with color inserts, just like the other ones are. They had changed, of course, how the armies got put together at this point. Notice the armies got bigger by a little bit. The units just a tad bit bigger. Starting to creep up a little. Of course, you still have the cavalry showed off in like bases of 5, so you can actually see the miniatures. Like these knights here, those are still bases of 5, so I'm not going to complain too much there. There's Archaon again, without the crazy paint colors. And it's just good old, it's all metal as hell, can I say. And of course, there's their idea of a full studio army, which I'm pretty sure half of that is stuff from older editions too, but maybe not. I know one of these editions they really started changing their paint style, so the old stuff got put into like archives or something. I do have miniatures for Warhammer Fantasy. The only one that still retains any kind of semblance of Warhammer Fantasy, the game, I kept the Standard Bearer. He's a crappy paint job from way back in the day, and of course you can see the banner. I did that myself, very much like I said. Angry Chaos guys. I wasn't without any kind of taste though. I had a champion of Tzeentch that I had turned into a Skeksis of sorts. That's kind of what they were in the first place, so I like this guy. His base is weird for a reason, because he used to sit on top of a disc of Tzeentch, and I could pull him off and switch him out. A Warhound of Chaos. I believe it's just a Khorne champion, really. Champion of Khorne. Right there. Oh, I have an original Skaven. I never painted the base, really, but yeah, it's a Skaven. Skaven, actually, I heard joined Chaos in the new game. Makes sense, I guess. They're kind of crazy. They're their own crazy people, though, so whatever. It's fantasy. You just write some stuff and call it good. That shield is actually a Wizards of the Coast shield, but I had made this guy. Yeah, notice how all these round bases are showing up? I use them in role-playing games, that's why. This is a demon, I think it's a Bloodletter Captain that came out in like the 2000s, 2001, 2002, something like that. They had this campaign sometime in the early 2000s where you fought over like Ireland essentially. This is the evil Irish guy. I think they called him like a Fen Witch or a Fen Priest or the Dark... I think it was the Dark Oracle. The other guy was the Fen Priest. This is the Dark Oracle. I'm not sure. And there's this guy. He's also on a role-playing base. One last guy to show you that's... This is my Chaos Doom Bull. He is a Doom Bull. You know, savage mother with humongous axes that will tear you from limb to limb. He's just a beast. And of course, if you look down on him, those are other parts from like Reaper miniatures or whatnot. I have some dead bodies splattered in gore that I did stick with and I still have some interest in. And you might too if you know what this is. This is Warhammer Ancient Battles. My favorite aspect of Warhammer, and one that's relatively... this is both a dead game and a secret game. If you know playing Warhammer Ancient Battles, you're part of a secret club. But it's essentially the same kind of rules, except for if you open it and take a look at it, it's this is definitely like made between like 3rd and 4th edition. I'll get a year on this in just a second, but this is somewhere in here. It's got like a picture of like an entire Roman legion. Well, they put some color inserts in here as they should because it's a Warhammer product. So get your color inserts. Where is it? There's a picture of Roman legion here. I want to show it off because I think not John Blanche, but McVeigh I think drew that one. Someone did. But yeah, it's over here somewhere. If I spot it, I'll jump to it. Rawr. Dang it. I thought it was cool. Alright, here's a damn thing. First of all, the year is 1998. This book was made. And this is the Roman cohort here versus a British warband. And I just like that. It's just really cool. This is the old Roman wars back in like, you know, just after the time of Christ or just before it. Though given the fact they've got scorpions, I think these guys are packing the segmentum. I'm pretty sure this is the age of Caesar. You know, single-digit years up until, you know, like I think Rome essentially fell in 420-something. But anyway, so there's this. I'm a huge fan of historicals, also because I also have picked up this. This is, I think, one of the last products ever made for Warhammer Fantasy Ancients. But this is the Art of War, where you play like Sun Tzu era or the Three Kingdoms, or pretty much war in ancient China. And yeah, I'm kind of I like the war in ancient Asian empires kind of stuff. It's the same kind of deal as everything else is, but there it's got the color inserts. I don't know, these guys did not just get Citadel miniatures to make this, but they did a lot of hand building, and you see they have the color inserts show. These are like really old guys. This is like this is old China. I think these are more like Three Kingdoms period, something like that. And these are also Three Kingdoms, and because there's actually a prehistoric era they have in here. They have different eras in here, and one of them, oh yeah, they've got 2 color sections. Hey, what do you know? Check this out. So, I like it. So yeah, look at all those dudes. Yeah. This book has got, it's 2006 is when this book was made, so this is really a, fine. Does it have the eras separately in here? Kind of. Early Chinese with early Eastern tribes, the Art of War, the Zhou Dynasty, then it goes to the Eastern steppe nomads, Warring States, Battle of Chengdu, this is before. You know what? Yeah. I would say Three Kingdoms, a whole different thing. It's the end of the Han Dynasty right there. So this is a really fun book. I don't know many people who have it, but I do. I think it was branded as Warhammer Historical instead of being Warhammer Ancient Battles. Still, it's you know what I'm tied to here. So looking at this, I like it. This is a different thing than, of course, the Roman period, and a completely different thing from, like, you know, Edge of Chaos. So it's kind of sad that you guys lost the Warhammer Fantasy Battle game for those guys who, you know, were interested in playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles. But one thing I do say is why I have dead games kicking around is once you own a non-digital product that's not owned on a cloud, I mean, you own it. You have the miniatures, you have the rule books, you have the terrain. You can keep that around as long as you know someone who plays it, and you can play the game too. So I'm going to cut it short before I just ramble on.